Okay, picture this. Imagine living in a world where your absolute peak potential is permanently capped the very second your powers awaken. No training arcs, no sudden breakthroughs, just stuck. Welcome to another Explainer. Today, we're breaking down a massively popular, lore-heavy universe to follow one underdog's incredible blood-pumping journey from the literal bottom of the food chain to the absolute peak of power. If you're into deep magic systems and just relentless, non-stop progression, you are definitely in the right place.
So let's dive right in with a pretty chilling truth about this reality. When the time comes, even a hunter becomes prey. In a world that is suddenly overrun by magical beasts threatening humanity, only the strong survive. And honestly, the line between hunter and hunted can flip in the blink of an eye.
All right, level 1, the weakest E-rank hunter. To truly understand our protagonist, Sung Jinwoo, we first have to look at the absolutely brutal status quo of his daily life. Let's rewind a bit. About 10 years ago, the world completely changed. Out of nowhere, these strange dimensional rifts, people call them gates, started opening up all over Earth. And they were pouring out magical monsters that were completely immune to modern weapons. Like guns and tanks did absolutely nothing. To fight back, a small percentage of ordinary humans suddenly awakened magical powers. These individuals, they became known as hunters. But here is the absolute kicker. In this world, your hunter rank is fixed at birth. You can't train to get better. On one end of the spectrum, you've got your S-rank hunters. These guys possess literally godlike power. They can heal with lightning, and they hold immense, absurd wealth. And on the complete opposite end, you have E-rank hunters, like our guy, Sung Jinwoo. He is barely stronger than your average person on the street. He fights with cheap, easily broken blades and risks horrific death every single day just to pay the hospital bills for his mom, who is suffering from this incurable condition called eternal sleep disease. Because of all this, Jinwoo is universally known as the weakest hunter of mankind. Which brings us to level 2, the double dungeon trap. Everything flips during what was supposed to be a completely standard, super low-risk D-rank raid. Jinwoo's party accidentally stumbles into this hidden area called the Karthanon Temple. It's a double dungeon, and inside, they are immediately trapped with these massive, towering, laser-shooting statues that operate on 3 very specific deadly commandments: respect God, worship God with all your heart, and prove your faith. You fail any of those, instant brutal death. The party is just instantly decimated by this terrifying, godlike statue sitting in the center of the room. So things get desperate. Jinwoo was actually left behind on an altar, a literal bloodied sacrifice by the terrified, fleeing members of his own party. He is facing certain death. But right as the giant statues are about to deliver the final, fatal blow, this mysterious, glowing video game interface just pops out of thin air right into his vision. It offers him the qualifications to be a player. With his heart set to stop in literally fractions of a second, what else is he gonna do? He accepts. And that kicks off level 3, awakening the player system. Now, what's really wild is what happens next. Jinwoo wakes up in a hospital bed. His severed limbs are completely restored, and there is a literal RPG system floating right in front of his eyes. A screen that absolutely nobody else can see. But here's the catch. This system doesn't just hand him free power. It demands work. He gets locked into this brutal daily quest routine. We are talking 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, and a 10-kilometer run every single day. And if he skips it, the penalty is insane. He instantly gets teleported to this blistering desert zone where he has to survive for 4 straight hours running away from giant lethal centipedes. It is a literal punishing grind. However, if he puts in the work, the rewards are absolutely unprecedented. By completing these quests and soloing these special hidden instance dungeons, he starts earning ability points. He can literally just dump points into stats like strength and agility. He starts collecting overpowered loot like Kazaka's Venom Fang, a dagger that causes paralysis, and he unlocks these crazy skills like dash and full recovery. So think about the contrast here. Unlike every other human on Earth whose magical rank is permanently locked in stone the day they awaken, Jinwoo has completely shattered the fundamental rules of reality. He went from being this helpless guy who lived in the hospital to having infinite growth scaling, instant healing, and a magical inventory. He is rapidly becoming a one-man army. But it's not all easy leveling. Let's look at level 4, Monsters Among Men. Because as Jinwoo grins his way up, he discovers a really dark truth about his world. The most dangerous things lurking down in those dungeons? Yeah, they aren't always the magical beasts. He learns this the hard way. He gets completely betrayed and trapped in a boss room by a greedy C-rank party. They basically leave him for dead to steal the loot. But right as he's facing execution at the hands of these corrupt hunters, the system throws him an emergency quest. The objective? Kill the human traitors to survive or face a lethal penalty himself. It's a huge turning point. He realizes this system is ruthlessly pushing him to evolve, no matter the cost. So Jinwoo is forced to shed his innocence really quickly. He has to fight Dong-suk's party, these guys who literally sacrifice weak hunters just to harvest mana crystals for corporate greed. And later, he even has to throw down with Inspector Kang Tae-shek. This guy is a sadistic B-rank assassin who actually uses the isolation of the dungeons as a cover to legally murder people for money and pure pleasure. But Jinwoo, he systematically eliminates them all. The absolutely crucial takeaway from all this is that Jinwoo is totally done being the E-rank victim. By adapting to the system's lethal, cutthroat demands, he isn't just surviving anymore. He's becoming an apex predator, easily outpacing and outsmarting even the most seasoned human killers out there. Which brings us to the climax of this explainer. Level 5, Rise of the Shadow Monarch. Once Jinwoo finally hits level 40, the system pulls him into this massive, isolated dungeon for a grueling job change quest. It's time to prove his ultimate worth. And it is a nightmare. Jinwoo is locked in an endless gauntlet. He's totally stripped of his ability to buy potions from the store, his instant recovery skills are blocked. He's totally on his own. He faces wave after wave of heavily armored knights, stealth assassins, and light magic wizards. It tests literally every single stat he has leveled up. And waiting at the very end, protecting an empty throne, the boss, the terrifying blood-red commander, Igris. Let me tell you, Igris is a monster unlike anything he has faced so far. Jinwoo is pushed to the absolute brink. His daggers are literally bouncing off Igris's armor. His fatigue meter hits maximum. Stripped of all his fancy, magical advantages, Jinwoo only wins this brutal, desperate brawl by throwing away his broken weapons and using his bare hands, pure willpower, and sheer desperation to finally land a lethal strike on the commander. Just barely surviving this impossible gauntlet for over 4 agonizing hours earns Jinwoo a massive amount of advancement points, enough to unlock a hidden supreme class. Looking down at the armored corpse of his greatest foe, Jinwoo utters a single, world-shaking command. Arise. And with just that one word, he defies death itself. He transforms right there from a solo, dagger-wielding assassin into the Shadow Monarch. Using his brand-new, god-tier necromancer abilities, he extracts the mana from Igris and the entire massive dungeon horde he just spent hours destroying. He resurrects them all, forming his own personal, fiercely loyal, immortal shadow army. So as we wrap up this explainer, you really have to stop and ask yourself, we just watched Jinwoo go from the weakest human alive to a monarch commanding an immortal army. Now that he has completely broken the rules of reality to conquer death itself, who or what could possibly stand in his way next?